Our first guest stars in what is already shaping up to be one of the biggest movies of the summer. Disclosure Day comes from the legendary filmmaker Steven Spielberg, and it asks a simple but age-old question: what if humanity discovered that we are not alone?
What if? Huh. Well, we're not alone right now.
Why?
And here's why. We have Henry Lloyd-Hughes joining us on the couch, one of the stars, to talk about this incredible blockbuster movie of the summer. Please welcome to New York Living.
Good morning.
You're so fit.
Hugely excited, hugely excited.
Not more than
My
we
friend
are.
Sam is watching, so
Okay.
hi Sam.
So,
Am
hello,
I allowed to do a
Sam.
shout out?
You can absolutely do a shout out. This is your segment.
I was told this sofa was uncomfortable.
And
you know what? If you set low expectations, it's more comfortable than I was expecting.
Well, we set a low couch as well. This is that couch you have to kind of get down to.
Here. Okay,
Thank you for having me.
No, this is a real treat for us.
We had the premiere last night.
And?
Where were you? Don't tell me you were watching the Knicks.
You know, it's funny. Could you have something in your hair? Maybe we could just change the conversation.
Stephen was wearing a Knicks hat on the red carpet.
Is that right?
Yes. Maybe by way of apology for everyone that
had to choose between.
Exactly.
And by Steven, you mean Steven Spielberg.
Sorry, yes. That's the #1 rule of show business. Don't name drop in the first 30 seconds of your interview. Sorry, do you call him Steven Spielberg? Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah, because we haven't hung out with him for a year.
Yeah.
Did you imagine at any point in your career you would be calling Steven Spielberg Steven?
No. Firstly, no. I remember as a young actor, this is true, that going to see Munich on my own in Leicester Square, and I walked out into the night and I thought, if only I can just hang in there long enough to, you know, be part of a movie that makes people feel what I felt watching that movie. And it was pretty magic to be able to tell that story to Stephen on the set of the movie that we were making.
Oh,
so,
my God.
You know, these are great pinch me moments.
Yeah.
Full circle moments.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Let's get into it all. So
yeah, it's a hell of a ride. Yeah.
Okay. What happens in this movie without giving it all away? Because it is, finally, I think moviegoers are like, the summer blockbuster is back.
The summer blockbuster of blockbusters.
Yeah.
I would describe it as the kind of signing off and closing of so many threads that he has opened in terms of his movies and his relationship to this subject matter, in terms of what lies beyond this planet. And it feels like the final chapter.
Yeah.
It feels like the final chapter, and I think, having seen it for the second time last night, there are Easter eggs and details and references that go back to so many of his movies, obviously E.T. and Close Encounters being obvious ones.
If I see Drew Barrymore with blonde pigtails go, I'm going to, in this movie, I'm going to lose my mind.
No, it wasn't as literal as all the other, all the characters reappear. Rufio doesn't appear from Hook, though.
That would be
of
wonderful.
course I would love
Epic
that.
moment, right?
I'm a Hook truther, I'm afraid.
Right.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the action in the film. It's got a wild train sequence that sounds like it's out of like sort of an old school blockbuster. Talk to us a little bit about that. Well, actually, before we do that, let's take a peek at this and then tell us about the action.
You're going to see.
We gotta jump! We gotta bail!
I can't! I'm standing on the brakes! Oh my God! Oh my God! No, 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 no!
He's backing up! Get out now!
One of those things Spielberg is so unbelievably good at. There is not a ton of dialogue there, but there's a ton of story and a ton of tension.
Can I say that people applauded at the end of the sequence
in
the theatre last night? Because this sequence goes on. But it's really spectacular. And the extraordinary thing is when you've been doing this as long as I have, when you read something like this in the script, you think you're going to go into a hangar, there's going to be a green screen, and I was going to be holding a kind of toy steering wheel like this in an imaginary car. And then I check in the schedule, and they're like, you know, crew moves to the train tracks. We went to New Jersey and we found a train. That is a real train. That is a real car that I was really driving into a real train. And this is not a spoiler, but as we move through the sequence, they get out of the car and are clinging to the side of the train, again, real people on the side of a real train.
Stars are just like us. Although you are in your former life, you were a stunt.
I was a stunt guy. I have a deep respect for practical.
On a
a million years ago, I have a deep respect for practical stunts like that, and for the work that it takes to do it. Tell us a little bit about your character.
You
in
look
this, 'cause
very nefarious.
We don't think very highly of you after that clip.
Casper Boyd.
Casper Boyd, you know, it's funny because people talk about, they use the V word, they use the villain word.
No.
And David Kep, the writer, and I were discussing the idea more of antagonists.
Okay,
So,
fair.
you know, Josh O'Connor's character, you know, they have a certain belief system that is about trying to share the secrets of what may or may not be out there with the world. And Casper Boyd and Colin Firth's character, we work for Wardex, which is the government agency that's in charge of making sure that doesn't happen.
Obviously,
so we
yeah,
have
yeah,
our
yeah.
own belief system. And, you know, he's completely committed to that belief system. So that's just the way it works as an actor. You have to believe in what your person believes in.
That sounds like something a villain would say, if you ask me.
Sounds like something a stuntman would say.
I'm just a journalist asking the tough questions. Our question of the day, I want to bring this back, was, do you believe what is the government hiding from us?
Yeah.
We gave a couple of options. Are aliens real? Do you aliens real?
Wow.
Who really killed Biggie Smalls?
Birds aren't real.
Or all of the above?
When you say birds,
Like, you know, the things you see on the street with wings.
Right.
Surely you have them in England.
no, but do you know what? Do you know
The
what birds?
birds-
Are?
Ladies.
Yes,
The
sorry.
ladies.
Yes, no.
So that's English slang for women.
And it's
if
also-
I find out today that women aren't real, this is
You've got
really
bigger
gonna,
problems
another
than
movie
walking the red
entirely.
carpet. Yeah.
You know, according to that, 20% of Americans think women aren't real. I mean, this
Yeah.
is
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So, do they have conspiracy theories like this? Like, do you have the breadth of conspiracy theories that we have here?
No, I would say, I mean, of course we do, but I would say that the kind of Reddit-based UAP phenomenon, you know what I mean? Like the fervor, I would say America is number one
Sure.
in the world for having that, I don't know, appetite, enthusiasm.
For conspiracy theories. I would agree.
Specifically for that, but I think for good reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll say this, which is if you spend enough time with Steven Spielberg, he is very convincing. On this subject. This is not something that he is chancing his arm or has, is wavering on.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You
no.
know, he's fully paid up. He's 100% all in. And, you know, he knows Barack Obama.
He knows some folks.
He knows some folks. And Barack came to set.
What?
When I was not
Stars
there.
are
We need another segment
It
with
was
this
the
guy
worst
just to get
day
the
off I
stories.
ever had.
No.
I wasn't in. They said, do you know who was in yesterday? And I was like, I don't know who. And they were like, Barack Obama. I was like, are you kidding me? I would have come in.
Man, I can't believe you're still walking around town looking all handsome and dapper. Unbelievable.
you. Bless
If
you.
what you have said does not make people run to go see this film,
Yeah.
I do not know what will.
And you've got to see it on the biggest screen possible.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair. Should we
Okay.
call Stephen?
We'll call Steven and see if he and Barack want to get together and
Fair,
go see a
fair.
screening.
Yeah, great.
The movie Disclosure Day hits theaters on Friday. It is going to be the movie you're going to have to talk to your coworkers about.
That's right.
So get out there and go see it.
Thank you so much.